Hey everyone, this is the scenario discussion analysis for the scenario Defense of Newport Station, now in its second version. The original version had 2 enemy aircraft carriers and an allied aircraft carrier that have now been switched to 2 cruisers and 1 battleship. The second wave had an aircraft carrier that has now been switched to a Furutaka. You had the allied aircraft carrier if you accomplished a couple tasks. That was a Lexington, now switched to a Baltimore. And if you had failed those tasks, you had a Hiryu, if I remember right, that has now been switched to an Izumo. This is considered one of the more difficult operations, and even if you don't think it's difficult, it is definitely one of the ones where it's very easy to lose stars in. And the basic premise is to defend the base against all incoming attack waves. Here we're going to discuss the order of battle, tasks you need to accomplish, ship spawns, and the basic strategy for accomplishing this with 5 stars. The map for this is unique to it. Whether you think this is a good map for an attack and defense for PvP is something to be considered. Personally, I like the Killer Whale map much better for this. Now, the tasks are not as simple as the other operations, as there are multiple ways that it can branch. The primary always stays the same. You need to hold out until the arrival of your allied ships, and at least one onshore installation or support ship arrives. Alternatively, if you destroy all enemy ships, obviously that is a win as well. Now for secondary tasks, to keep all your stars, one is you need to have all the buildings and support ships survive. Next is one of the more problematic tasks. You need to make sure no enemy ships enter the base area. And then another one, you need to have at least 3 ships in your force survive so you don't lose another star. And then the last task here is also a problematic one. There is a timer which is 10 minutes, and you need to destroy all the enemy ships before the main attack starts, which is at 10 minutes. Now, there is a success and fail condition I have given for this video. The success definition is for task 3 and task 5, you need to make sure the base perimeter isn't reached, and you need to destroy all enemy ships before the main attack starts, which is a success. And if you manage to do so, then you get the task to defend the allied cruiser, which spawns, and you need to make sure and keep that alive, or you will also lose a star. And here, a fail definition is the same tasks if a enemy ship breaches the base perimeter, or you don't sink all the enemy ships before the main attack starts. That is a fail, and you don't get the allied cruiser, and instead you get a task to sink the Izumo. Now, I have modified the map to separate it into 3 sectors, a north, center, and south sector, which I will be using from this point forward. Now, the spawn has a pattern which I'm told that not everyone knows about, so I will go over the rules for that pattern here. First rule is there were 3 sectors for spawns, as I have shown, and next rule is the next wave will always spawn in a neighboring sector from the current one. And the last rule for the waves is the direction of the next spawn is always the same. And if the current spawn is in a border sector, the north or south sector, it will go back to the center. Now, for the Baltimore spawn, if you have a success, meaning you made sure no ship breached the perimeter and you sunk all the ships before the main attack, the Baltimore always spawns on a border sector, the north or south sector, and that sector will always be a sector where there was a previous enemy wave in. Now, to show the patterns visually, there are 4 different possibilities. Here it would be the first wave starting in the south, going to the center, going to the north, and then the Baltimore spawning in the north sector. Second possibility is starting in the center, going into the south. Now, you see its direction, but then it's a border sector, so now it'll head back into the center. And remember that the Baltimore always spawns in a sector where there was a previous wave, so it spawns in the south rather than the north. Next possibility is the complete opposite. Center to north to center, and Baltimore in the north sector. And the last one is the opposite of the first. First wave starts in the north, moves to the center, moves to the south, and the Baltimore spawns in the south. Now, the ship spawns for a success condition. You'll have the enemy waves. The first 3 are always the same. First wave is the Chikuma, Tenryu, Kuma, Yubari. Second wave is the Isokaze, T-22, Furutaka, Kaiser, and Ishizuchi. And the third wave is the Hazuharu, Fubuki, Gaida, Furutaka, Alba, and Nuremberg. Now, if you get a success condition where the perimeter is not breached and you kill all the ships before the main attack, you get the Baltimore spawn, and then you have the Alba and Nuremberg chasing the Baltimore. And then the last attack wave is the main attack with a Moss, Shiratsuyu, York, Miyoko, Koenig, Bayern, and Zumo. Now, if you get a fail condition, meaning the perimeter was breached or you did not kill all the ships for the main attack, this is what spawns. You have first, second, and third wave, as you see, is exactly the same. First is Chikuma, Tenryu, Kuma, and Yubari. Second is Isokaze, T-22, Furutaka, Kaiser, and Shizuchi. Third wave is the Hatsuharu, Fubuki, Gaida, Furutaka, Alba, and Nuremberg. Now, if you had a fail condition, meaning perimeter was breached, or you did not sink all the ships before the main attack, you do not get the Baltimore, and the main attack will include the Alba and the Nuremberg in the success condition that was chasing the Baltimore in the main attack. So the main attack now has 2 more ships, Moss, Shiratsuyu, Nuremberg, and Alba, which was previously chasing the Baltimore in the success condition, York, Miyako, Koenig, Bayern, and Izumo. Now, if things continue to cascade in a terrible fashion, you can have more allied spawns. Now, keep in mind, even in a success condition, if you start losing ships rapidly, you can get these allied spawns as well. If you end up with less than 3 ships, whether you got a success or fail condition, you will have a Nicholas and Farragut spawn to assist you. And if things continue to spiral downward, you will have to wait until the Allied attack force arrives. If you are unable to sink all the enemy ships, that Allied attack force is an Indianapolis, a Warspite, and a Tier 7 Saipan that spawns in the east, and a Helena and Missouri that spawns in the south. Now, basic strategy is, first you want to identify the spawn pattern for the waves, and you want to move proactively to counter it. Now remember, you have the different patterns here, which you can refer to, and I will post links to the image for each one. And one thing you can do is have some early spotting after the surveillance stations are destroyed. And what you can do is have a destroyer or aircraft carrier spot them. The longer you have them spotted, the more damage you can do to them, and the quicker you can kill each wave. And the third thing here is you can have a low detection or smoke ship, such as a destroyer or something like a Perth or Leander, move in to an area for some broadside shots for fast kills. And if you don't have such ships, you generally want long-range, fast DPM ships to destroy them, especially if you can get the early spotting from a destroyer or aircraft carrier. Now, if you get a success condition and you have the Baltimore spawn, you want to be in position to try and kill the Alba and Nuremberg as quick as possible. One thing you can do is distract the 2 cruisers from attacking the Baltimore, whether it's a cruiser or battleship charging, or a destroyer shooting. And another thing you can do to help save the Baltimore is have someone be in position ready to give it some smoke cover as it flees away from the two enemy cruisers. Now, whether you have a success or fail condition, once the main attack starts, there is no longer a perimeter you need to defend. At this point, there should definitely be ships that, if they are low health, should go back to repair at the support ships, as you want to avoid losing ships, since going down to less than 3 ships causes you to lose a star. And the last thing you need to watch out for is the Bayern and the Koenig coming in from the north and south sector. If you do not keep them occupied, they will start shooting at the base buildings, and if you lose any of them, you will lose a star. If you have any questions, let me know. As you can see, there are a variety of ways to lose a star just from reading over the tasks. You can lose a star from the defense perimeter being breached. You can lose a star from not sinking all the enemy ships. These two are the typical methods where you end up losing a star. If just the 5th task here fails, you can end up with a 4-star success, 4-star win. If the 3rd one fails, that means you also fail the 5th one. You can have a max of a 3-star win. And then in the spawns, if you go down to less than 3 ships, that's another star lost. So just let me know if you have any questions on what you need to do for this, as it is actually quite a complicated operation. And even with an organized division, if things start going badly, it's not hard for it to cascade into a big problem. Thank you for watching, and let me know any questions or concerns, and have a good day.